to the topical highlight. I'm Marvin Mutabaz, and today we are with the spokesperson of the Ministry of Defense, that is Brig.Gen Felix Kulayigye. We are looking into the state of security of the country, and he's going to elaborate more from that. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for this great offer.
You're always welcome.
All right, let's start from the state of security. What is the current state of security?
Oh, the country is very secure, very stable, from border to border. The only challenge is the cattle thefts in northeastern Uganda that at times infiltrate into actually sub-region, long sub-region. But those are minor and they are being managed accordingly.
You've talked about border to border. You've said border to border.
Right.
Of recent, we had a bombing on one of our borders. Why does that leave the people? Has UPDF failed to sustain and according to what it is supposed to do?
But the bomb was outside, across the border.
Yes.
Yes.
But then some of our citizens were affected.
Whoever was affected in that church had gone to pray from that side. We can only account for those who are inside our border, but we can't account for those who are outside the border. If you cross the border to a neighboring country, you are in the hands of the state of that country. And you also know that because of neighborliness, because of the way the colonialists divided Uganda, relatives live across the borders. So you can't stop people from crossing the border. UPDF has not failed to protect you. That's why business is moving on normally in the country. The other challenge for me I see is outside our mandate.
Okay.
The question of corruption. For me, that's the threat I'm looking at now. It's non-military in nature, but it's a state to national security. A threat rather to national security.
But I find that you're saying it is non-military in nature, but it has been put on paper that most of the defense organizations, that is police and UPDF in particular, are one of the most corrupt organizations we have in the country currently.
I don't think you're right. I don't think you're right. Actually, the other day the bishop said he looked for the list. He was looking at the list of the most corrupt agencies. He looked for UPDF. It wasn't among them. And I speak for UPDF, not any other. As far as UPDF is concerned, in that corruption index, where they were giving marks of those who are most corrupt up to 0, the man looked for us and we were not there. That's what Bishop Mwesiga said on Saturday. I can also testify to you that we have been monitoring the projects that were given, our engineers were given from Ministry of Health and Education.
Yes.
The comments of the clients are all saying these guys are working almost half of the time the contractors, the private contractors were taking. Nambole, scheduled to last 6 months, 4 months we are done. Kolo Secondary School, scheduled to last up to April. By December we were ready. The other day we were in Kasanda, Bukuya.
Yes.
And Health Center 4 is ongoing. If it wasn't for Ebola, which cut off Bukuya for 2 months, that was also going to be completed before schedule. So we have been tested that for us we not only deliver, but we deliver quality and in time.
Yes. I want to applaud the engineering brigade. It's doing a great job.
Yes.
It is really doing a great job. But you talked about the northern. You talked about the cattle wrestling in the northern.
Yeah. This
is the 3rd time now. I think we are going into the 3rd year of this activity.
Yeah.
It came into place after the disarmament of the Karamajongs. That's when the raiding increased in number.
Yeah.
How has that been solved so far?
The following ways. First and foremost, why did it rise again? We had ended disarmament in 2009 successfully. Why then do we see a flare-up in 2019? Our neighbors have not been disarming, Kenya and South Sudan. So the cattle thieves were able to acquire guns from our neighbors, especially when it comes to those guys coming in to look for pastures and water, the Topotha of South Sudan and Turkana of Kenya. And so when they sneak in with guns, they are able to sell to these thieves that hitherto had been denied the means to acquire cattle in big numbers. But the policy now is make the gun unpalatable. That's number one. Number two, there have been claims of some of the security people either making animals disappear or covering up certain animals that have been recovered. We have investigated that, and some individuals were arrested for being against outside the law. Some young officer, I think about 2, and then the lower ranks. So by and large, we are on top of the situation. We are no longer seeing 100 cows stolen, 200. Now it's 20, 30, 15, and in most cases, they are all recovered.
So how safe are those borders? Can we say they're 100% safe?
Of course, borders are safe in as far as their porosity is concerned. Because of the porousness of our borders, criminals can sneak in. But security and the safety of the citizens on those borders, along those borders, is guaranteed. Because we have the forces to protect them.
UPDF is one of the defense forces, like the security organizations, that is directly into civilians. They work directly hand in hand with civilians, right?
Yes.
How comes that at times we see the civilians again fighting the UPDF or UPDF attacking civilians directly?
When people live together, conflict can happen. Husbands and wife fight. Does it mean that there is a divorce?
Not necessarily.
So when people live together, conflict is likely. For us, the bottom line, how is it handled? Is it resolved by fire to fire, or the law has been applied to techniques of civil militarizations, where we come, talk to the wananchi, punish our own, and life continues?
You've talked about punishing. You've talked about punishing.
Yeah.
How far should UPDF go into force? What is the limitation of UPDF's force? More so when it comes to the civilian.
No. We have no business punishing civilians.
Okay.
It's not our responsibility. The civilians ought to face the law. There is, however, a difference between the civil militarizations in ordinary times, and then terrorism.
Yes.
Some of our citizens get involved in terrorism, either for religious reasons or for religious extremism or for money. Now, if someone whose name has been picked in terrorist activities or enhancing terrorist activities, that person will be arrested by the UPDF. Our swift action on Christmas Eve in Masaka saved lives.
Yeah.
This man had a bomb ready to deploy. We don't know whether he was taking it to Chitovu or to one of the churches near, but certainly it was going to be used on Christmas Day. The vigilance between the security agencies and the civilians help us to deal with some of these challenges. So how far can we go in punishing? We punish our own when we err. When you are a citizen found against the law, then you are taken to court also. Of course, you have heard people complain about these individuals that we are charged in court martial.
Yes, that was my next question.
I read your mind. No, you see, for us, we have a law. Anybody who abets a UPDF soldier to commit crime commits an offense and is subject to trial in the military court. Anyone found with military stores commits an offense. Like the other day in Rubaga division, someone was found with the uniform.
Military uniform.
A military uniform and a military jacket. What are you doing with them? They are not overalls to use in the market.
I think the question here is supposed to be, how do they get these things? Not what are they doing with them?
My brother, I think if you read the Bible, in Job chapter 1 verse 6, when God's children were gathered, even Satan was there. Now if Satan can be in heaven, in God's company, what about in ordinary souls? Either we lend them out, some of us. I can tell you some people have had the audacity to ask me for uniform.
Surely?
Yes.
A civilian asking for uniform.
A civilian asking for uniform.
Oh my God.
Some have asked to be lent my escorts. You guys are very audacious. So, if they found somebody weak or who is a populist, I would have complied. But I can't because I know it is wrong. Secondly, the others who have criminal intention. Like the guy who was caught, I think, in Mukono, he had been given the uniform from Ruzira by one of us, a soldier. And he was caught stealing. So, these happen. Maybe if we went back into enclosure in the barracks, these incidents may decrease. I hope so. We are now building cantonments where we shall have people in their brigades. Then our interaction with you will be limited.
Okay.
Yes.
So we talked about punishment. We talked about punishing. Everyone who has been punished and taken to the court-martial has come out with a wound. I don't want to call it torture. I don't want to call it, because that will be a big word for today.
Court-martial come out with a wound?
But most of the people have been presented. Who have been presented? For example, last 2 weeks we had an instance of Eric, who was presented at the NUP offices, who was tortured and was claiming to be tortured by the military officials. Who is responsible for that?
First of all, I did make a position on Eric.
Yes, you did.
And I said, Eric was not in our custody. What we are doing now is to investigate who had kidnapped Eric. Because I can tell you, there are questions you guys in the media never put out. Why should the state arrest Eric? Who was he? Before that claim, nobody knew Eric at all.
He's claiming to be a NUP supporter. We have seen many NUP supporters.
Is that ground to arrest anybody?
No,
how come we have not arrested Honorable Kyagulanyi, who not only is the president of NUP, but goes out of the country, it smears the country with all sorts of rubbish, and comes back and gets a bouquet of flowers at the airport? We have not arrested him. Belonging to NUP is not a crime.
Yes.
It's not a sin at all. Now, however, what I've come to realize, even those who have had issues for purposes of publicity, they become NUP supporters and they are being hunted for that. But why?
But Afande, UPDF and other defense forces, most of the red tops, have been seen live on camera attack NUP offices. Don't you think that this creates an image that UPDF is in a confrontation with NUP in particular?
No. When the NUP was asked to surrender the red berets, have they?
What is the difference between the red berets of the red tops, the army uniform, and the NUP, what the NUP is?
I don't know. For me, I see them all red.
But then,
so tell me, an ordinary citizen, how will he be able to tell that this is a genuine military police soldier and this one is only a political party supporter called NUP? How would you tell the difference?
Afande, I thought, I'm now giving my thinking. I thought that the billets that belong to the defense forces have a coat of arms and something that differentiates them from civilian attires.
Do you notice this is brought in later?
Yes.
Before that is imposed, it's a beret. And why shouldn't a law-abiding citizen cooperate with security agencies when they say, don't pass here, you don't? What I seem to be reading in our society now, we think freedom equals anarchy.
Yes.
Not at all. Every society has regulations. But even in the jungle, the animals have leaders. So what about society? You can't think you're behaving how you want and you're let scot-free. But the bottom line, we don't torture. In fact, for me, I can tell you straight away, anybody that tortures a person is stupid. Because information acquired through torture is not admissible in the court of law. No. So why should you waste your time? 3, over time we have acquired the technology now. I don't have to be in touch you to tell whether you are saying a lie or the truth. So that's why you notice in the last 1 year, torture claims have been reduced to these political statements. And that's why we are interested. Where was Mwesigwa Eric tortured from?
Yes, putting aside Mwesigwa Eric, let's talk about Kakwenza Rukeba.
I never talk about him. It's a decision I took.
Is it a classified case?
Not a case. Him.
He's classified.
I don't discuss individuals.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So since you don't want to discuss,
it's a personal decision I took, and please respect it.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So we were still talking about the force you're supposed to use while handling civilians. You didn't answer that.
No. Use of force must follow the code reasonable force. Number 1. Number 2, we are not supposed to arrest individuals. We as UPDF. However, our intelligence arm at times find themselves having to arrest terror suspects. Now I can tell you openly and on camera, terror suspects are arrested in different way because they are a danger even to those who have gone to arrest them. You remember the case of this fellow in Iganga?
Yes, yes.
You know, we lost a soldier because of that fellow. Because they wanted to get him alive. He killed one of us. He killed the commando, to be exact. To train someone as a commando is quite an expensive thing. So when you are going to arrest terror suspects, you must use different methods. It's not equal to arresting a goat thief or iron sheet thief.
We had killings, UPDF shooting in Kasese.
Which one's that?
That was in 2016 when they attacked the palace of the Msinga.
Okay.
When they shot. The reports are not clear, but at least the Human Rights Commission claims that 15 people were shot. At least 15 children were shot.
No. What happened? I think you have on one side of the story. You forget there were 15 policemen killed by guards of the Musinga. Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Did you also know that the Musinga was asked to surrender those individuals and he refused? Did you know? Number 3, are you also aware that there was a protracted negotiation between the Musinga and the President of the Republic of Uganda about the same matter?
Yes.
Now, when an individual citizen harbors criminals, what is he? He's abetting crime. That's number 1. Number 2, even when a decision was taken to use military force, the President of the Republic of Uganda, for 4 days, looked for Musinga and he refused to talk to him. And instead he was on TV, just stamping that he's also a general. So why are you people picking only what is being said by those who actually misguided him? You imagine, you have been surrounded, and then somebody in Kampala tells you, wait for us to come. You are in Kasese. Are you wise when you actually comply with that advice?
Still, Afande, that cannot justify the shooting. Those were civilians.
They were not. Because there was fire exchange. Why then do you think a member had been taken to Musinga's door for him to be evacuated? Who? You thought matters were simple as here? Musinga requested for evacuation. And the general used the member, a UPDF member, to evacuate him. You see, when I was in primary, they used to say, never trouble before trouble troubles you. When you go against the law, the state reserves the right to choose which force to use.
Oh.
Yes. Reasonable force will be the word. How reasonable is reasonable? It is reasonable. But for me, the bottom line, why wait for that? Kabaka Mutebi has guards.
Yes.
Has he had a confrontation with the state? It's those who call themselves Babasajja ba Kabaka that have confronted the state with riots. And you have seen what has happened to them.
still talking about that, has there been any justifiable reason? Has anyone taken caution about that? Is there anyone to blame for this?
For what?
General Relu has...
The Omusinga is to blame. You have your politicians who went to the ICC. What did the ICC say?
There was no evidence, credible evidence for that.
So where are you creating these things in your head? You refer a case, those you refer to have made a conclusion. You still hang on to the allegation. Something must be wrong with your mind.
Recently, we were celebrating the Tarehe Sita Day.
Yes.
We are celebrating, that is the day UPDF is supposed to give back to the public. That's what I can say. Normal personal.
No, not supposed. That's the day we celebrate our birthday.
Yes.
What we do is simple, our choice. It's not an obligation. We choose to say, well, let's share on the little we have.
But this time round, the Tarehe Sita of this year has been criticized more, basing on the happening events. We have drones happening, and now people are comparing the UPDF forces to the past forces that were there.
Can I ask you?
Yes.
In the last 6 months, where have you seen drones?
I've not seen them, but they've been recorded on camera.
Where?
I've personally not seen them.
No, not you as an... Okay, on camera. Where have you seen them? In the last 6 months.
General, aren't you limiting me by telling me 6 months?
Where I'm saying so, I'm talking about a period I've been in charge as a spokesperson.
Okay.
I can't account for time before. I started in February last year. I've made a year. And in that period, I'm requesting to know how many times you have seen drones kidnapping people. 2, we do not deny that some of us make errors. And for me, I have insisted, we are not from Mars. We are from you.
Yes.
What sort of people do you give us? And therefore, you, the LOCs that give letters of recommendation, are you genuine to the country? Are you recommending the right people to come and hold guns? The whole essence of asking LOC one letter is qualify your character. Now, some of these individuals you have given us are rogues. And you expect us to change them in 6-9 months when they have been brought up or not even brought up at all for 25 years. So we find ourselves dealing with individuals who get excited because they have been given authority. Okay? Because like I've told you, we know in our training, torture is useless. So why should anybody in his sober mind torture a human being?
All right. So this is the question I'm supposed to be asking in the first place. Do security agencies have drones?
As far as I'm concerned, we have not imported vehicles outside our military vehicles. Does intelligence use non-military vehicles? Of course, yes.
Okay.
Okay? But to say drones are preserved, I think it's not. There are even taxis that are drones are here. But for me, all that is avoidable by one thing. Let's recommend those who are good character while joining the UPDF. We shall avoid these rogues.
So aren't we taking this at a personal level, General?
Yes, I am. Because, one, I'm a parent. So I have a duty to give the country responsible citizens. Number 2, I'm a leader. I want the future to be better than you have found it. And the honor of doing that is ensuring that the personnel we recruit, the personnel we deploy, deserve to be called a people's army. Because that's what makes us unique from other armies in the region.
Yes.
And by the way, do you ever ask yourselves why we have been able to sustain a government for 37 years uninterrupted, unlike our predecessors? Do you ever ask? Or do you people ever ask why the cheapest army in terms of emoluments is the strongest in the region? Have you ever bothered to ask? What makes us is our thinking. And so when we get contaminated by these new entrants, it's very annoying for some of us. Because we have built this name over the years. However, the Muganda says to Rawange Progomange Zibiriza Rose and Yebase. Because of our goodness and our simplicity, you have provoked us even beyond. I was attacked in 2009 by rioters while in uniform. I drove away. You think everybody else has the same resistance like I do? So, it's society in general. We do not come from elsewhere, we are from you. Some of the characteristics you see in town, at times they end up in our system. But once we get to them,
we are still on the issue of the drones. And you're claiming UPDF doesn't have any drones. So should I say, what have you done as UPDF to conquer that? Because the truth on ground is people are being kidnapped using drones. What have you done for that?
I have told you in the last 1 year how many cases. I've asked you, how many cases have you seen? It means there is action being done. It means there is action being done.
And
2, for us, accountability is not a matter of option. It's a must. I'll give you an example. A colleague from UBC sent me a message. His brother has not been seen for some days, blah, blah, blah. Can I help him? I discovered the guy had been arrested by crime intelligence of Uganda police and is in Chireka. And now he was asking me, amefanya nini tena? What else has he done again? Meaning he has been in trouble with the law before. So are we going to be to be accounting for everyone, even picked by police for crime reasons? Of course not. The bottom line, you as citizens have a right to be protected, but 2, you have a responsibility to cooperate with security agencies. And what I can assure you and the viewers, we are not going to abandon our mandate of protecting you. And where individuals amongst us misbehave, don't hesitate to let us know. We shall take action.
Afande,
yes.
Let's talk about the issue again of the drones. Let's talk about it. According to your explanation, you have said something has been done. Meaning by something being done, you agree that the cases were there.
They were there. They were there and we admitted.
Who are these people doing that?
Of course, I'm rogues within security agencies. So they were there.
It's going back to the security agencies.
Of course it does. It does. That's true. And I did tell you, we owned up. We did apologize to the country. And we promised action. And that's why I'm confident in telling you, the frequency in 2021 is not has not been the frequency in 2022. True or false?
True.
For me, and I remember in February last year I said, allow us clean ourselves, it's work in progress. And we have done it as promised. And we are going to continue.
So is this army you're proud of and the one you've worked for all these years free and independent?
Of what? Independent of what?
Is UPDF independent from the state? You take your actions, because UPDF as an army is not supposed to be political in nature, it's supposed to be independent generally.
No, you are confusing 2 things. You are confusing non-partisanship and a political. We do not have a political party, but we are not a political. We are politically conscious of what's going on because we serve a political cause. The other day the president told you in Kololo, why UPDF has succeeded always, God is on our side because we fight just wars. Even in internal security. You see, something you guys play about with, I'm talking of Ugandans. You imagine the state is the third entity, the third party. For your sake and I, the state must exist. Otherwise, you have anarchy on the streets. Now, when is a threat to the state's existence? That threat must be dealt with the family. Okay? Now, the opposition can do whatever they do, as long as you don't threaten the stability of the country. No problem.
What do you tag as threatening?
There is a book called by Hans Morgenthau. It's called Politics Among Nations. He lists threats to national security. Riots are one of them. Terrorism is another. Internal civil war is another. So We told you there were moves to start internal civil war. Do you remember?
Yes, yes.
So what do you count the attacks on police stations?
First,
And you're not talking about them. It's as if for you they are okay.
they are not okay, but these came into action after the joining of different police stations. I think that's when they became so rampant.
No, you are mistaken. Actually, the police stations were withdrawn to protect the police officers.
Should we tag that as one of the reasons why whenever you say group of police officers, there is a UPDF soldier? So even police now needs protection in this country.
It's a mutual support. That's what it's called. It's not protection. It's a mutual support. That's English.
Yeah. But then UPDF is there to protect borders. That's why at times you see there is external force, external too much force used. Because the soldiers are trained to be there for the borders of the country, to protect the big country. I think it is this police officer who is trained on how to handle a civilian.
But the other ones will leave to handle you. It's when you disrespect them that will come in. Haven't you heard people say, nga bakamifu tibanaja tetuvao? So when you ask for bakamifu, we bring them. We are responsive to your demand. Work with the police. You will not see us. We have no business being on the street. We have a lot of work now we are doing across the continent. I hope you are aware. So, when we ask Parliament to increase the budget of the police, they think it's a wastage of money. You are able to talk about all this and debate with very nice English because there is a state.
Yes.
Yeah. Therefore, I can assure you, anybody who threatens the existence of the state, sorry, you will be dealt with.
Let's talk about the November riots. The November riots, that was a political climate, we can agree.
Yes.
It was a political climate. Many people were injured and wounded. People were shot dead. People were shot and injured at the same time.
Yes.
And some lost their lives. Who is accountable for that, General?
Those who are accountable for us, we arrested them. And I want to ask you also in the same question, same vein. Who is accounting for those who hammered the police officers on duty? Who? Do we? Do we know?
No.
You see, you remember the London riots?
Yes, yes.
2 individuals that I can recall were sentenced to 115, the other 114 years of imprisonment for rioting. Why do you expect us to behave differently here? 2, when you come with hammers, you want us to clap for you? I mean, there is no way, except someone who is crazy on marijuana, will shoot at people who are innocent, unless he is high on drugs. But the moment you come threatening this officer's life, he has no choice but to deal with you for his survival, first and foremost. Now, you have imagined that democracy means you can do anything you want, anywhere and anyhow. No. I am free to enjoy my rights as long as they don't infringe on yours. So, my freedom goes to the extent where it does not affect your freedom. There must be an arbiter, therefore, to ensure that I do not exercise my freedom beyond my boundaries. And that's the police. So work with them, all will be well in the country. Now I wanted to take it back to November. Political climate is not a ticket to create anarchy in the town. It's a political climate. What are you doing with people's shops? Why? These citizens have opened their shops to earn a living. You, who is politically active, what do you want to do in my business? Talk to people around downtown. Chikubo, Chiembe, the Natural Road. They lost millions. Today the economy is limping because some of those people didn't make money. And that's a failure on the part of the state. So, Ugandans, enjoy your freedom, but do not infringe on the freedom of others.
I can tag the same thing on journalists. We have seen still on paper and record soldiers fighting journalists directly. You're fighting someone who came from home to work, just like you were sent to gun work. Someone carrying a camera and then you're carrying a gun.
Can I ask, when you come to cover riots, where should your camera face?
The camera is supposed to face any subject, and because you're looking for news.
No. You have come to cover a riot. Your camera should be watching rioters. What you guys do, you stand with rioters, and your camera is facing security agencies. When this man is dealing with rioters, how will you survive? Because what I'm talking about is on camera. If this camera is on the side of security, you will recover my misbehavior if at all you want my misbehavior, and you will cover the rioters as well. When you decide to stand with the rioters and your camera is facing that way, that man coming will deal with you.
Do you think this is creating a big bridge between the National Army and the citizens?
A big bridge or a rift?
It's just bridging it up.
No, bridging means bring it together.
Yeah, it's joining it.
You see, I am part of the media world. And two, I must be cognizant of the camera angles. Okay? You guys have decided to make yourselves anti-state apparatus. When I was beaten in 2009, NTV was there. WBS was there. UBC was there. I remember one particular journalist who had a camera, and he saw who beat me. I even paid him money to give me the recording. You only see the stick in the air, and you see it landing on my arm. Who is holding it?
A civilian.
Would I ever forgive that journalist for denying me the information? I can't forget him. I can forgive, but I can't forget him.
Isn't this creating a bigger space between the media and the...
No, we have endeavored to narrow the space. Otherwise, I would not be even accepting interview from that young man. You see, we are not enemies. If anything, we are your protectors. But like I've said, the moment you decide to be among the rioters, your safety is not guaranteed. And anyway, check rioters elsewhere. Where do you see the media? Among the rioters or outside?
Media is supposed to be independent.
Thank you very much. So what are you doing with the rioters?
As you talked about camera angles, maybe that is also another angle.
Good luck then. Choose that angle, good luck.
So, Afande, what do you regret most in your career as a soldier?
Over trusting Ugandans.
Ah.
Yes.
It's worth a regret?
Yes.
Why?
They don't appreciate sacrifice. That I can tell you. They don't appreciate sacrifice. Mercenarism has taken over the country. Funirewa, sent. That's what we are discussing in NSSF. We are talking about iron sheets. What happened in the spirit of shame? So why should I have spent my entire 34 years of adulthood in the service of this country, and at the end of the day, what's happening? Savers' money stolen. Iron sheets meant for citizens stolen. By who? Ugandans.
This is the country you're protecting, sir.
This is the country I'm protecting. So am I protecting you to steal?
Maybe people are taking it out of hand.
No. So you ask me what I regret is over trusting Ugandans. Maybe I have overloved them.
What do you rejoice most? What do you appreciate most in your term of office?
Time of office as spokesman or
as a soldier,
my career as a soldier?
As the whole career.
My career as a soldier, I celebrate the services I've given this country. Selfless service. I actually abandoned my family for the good of Uganda. And I don't regret it. At some point, my children were affected by my absence, but there must be somebody to sacrifice for the rest.
We're having the Operation Shuja still going on.
Yeah.
Isn't it taking too long as expected? What is happening?
Expected by who?
According to what was presented in the first statement.
That what?
That the operation will take roughly a year.
Every operation is given a time frame. And at the end of that time frame, you do evaluation.
Yes.
Even as we speak, mid this month there was an evaluation meeting by the chiefs of defense forces. Now in your evaluation, if you realize that the intended objectives have not wholly been achieved, a decision is taken to extend. If they think by and large the main objectives have been achieved, then you wind up.
So Jan, as we conclude, when are we planning to release political prisoners who are arrested and who are detained?
Do you have political prisoners in this country?
Yes, we have political prisoners. I'm talking about people who were arrested during the political time. That's what we refer to political prisoners.
You see, again I will teach English here. Who is a political prisoner? A political prisoner is that person arrested for his or her political views.
I can claim it to that.
What was Segrinya's political view that made him be arrested? That are different.
Segrinya is out.
That are different. I know he's on bail.
Yes.
But what were his views different from Mpuga that made him be arrested? Or from Segona?
Let's not tag on the case of Segrinya. That is an exception.
I'm just giving it as an example. It's not the individual. I'm giving it as an example. So what I'm saying, if people were to be arrested for their political thinking, many would be inside, but wouldn't be correct.
Then why are people still in prisons?
Because they are on charges that are security related, not politics. This is a tag to win sympathy.
When did we reach a point of
Pardon?
When did we reach a point of having civilians being tagged to security issues in the country?
Sorry? We were civilians when we fought a government. We were not soldiers. So, young man.
So people are acting as a threat to the government?
No, a threat to you. When people attack a police station, what do you read? Again, the Baganda have a saying, if they have the audacity to attack a barracks, what are you reading into it? You know, at your angle, there are things you see, there are things you know. Similar to my angle, and I don't know those things you know. At my angle, there are also things I know that you don't know. It would be very criminal of us in security to ignore threats to national security. We have failed you. I'm not in this uniform to look smart. I'm in this uniform to serve you as a citizen. And that's why I've told you, errors happen, individuals commit mistakes, we do not take them lightly. And I want to say it again and again. We pride ourselves in being a people's army, not in a name, but in character. And so, what some of us have done in the past few years is very regrettable. And like I've told you, the reason is this freedom we have given to the children is having a negative impact. Crimes happen. The other day, a man killed the boyfriend of his daughter. And my question to him is he going to kill everybody? Because the girl is going to run with another boy. So, the moral fiber of the country, you who are in the media, I pray you give it the attention it deserves. In the process, we are definitely going to have the army would love to have to see, we're going to have the police would love to see. You imagine somebody selling his soul for 2,000 shillings. So for me, the issue is not the 2,000 shillings. It's the fact that somebody can think that he can contaminate his spirit with a bribe of 5,000, 50,000.
Still on that issue, sir, of that people who are arrested, don't you think it is too much? Some people are brought in court and taken back without any sentence, any action taken. How long is someone supposed to be under army custody without being judged?
Well, the last time I checked on the law, once matter is in court, it's not discussed. Sub judice. The sub judice law, I'm told. Number two, I can answer for things we have done outside the court. Once somebody enters court, is beyond us. Number three, I think there are also challenges of resources to the courts. But all that is avoidable by following the law. We will not be discussing this. The other day, you check in France, what happened? Again, when they were riots, what did they do? So, we are not unique. And the things we are doing are not unique to our country. By the way, we are at times portrayed as if we are enemies of the people. What an insult to some of us. We are not. We cannot afford to be enemies of the people, because minus the people, this army won't survive for even a year. And no one knows it better than us, because we triumphed because of the people.
All right, sir, your last word to the viewers.
One, this country is ours. It's God's gift to us. So beautiful as it is. The challenge to each one of us is, what contribution are you making to leave Uganda better than you found it? Because history will judge all of us, whether in uniform or you in a necktie. You are producing children now, do you? Not yet. I have a grandson. My greatest desire is for my grandson to live in a society that is morally upright. And I pray for that every day. Yeah.
Yes, today we were talking to the spokesperson of the Ministry of Defense, that is Brigadier General Felix Kulayigye, and it has been a good one. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and even follow for more content. Thank you so much.